everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Chelsea, and welcome to day one in the countdown to Christmas, where I will be posting a video every day up until Christmas Eve. This is alongside my short Vlogmas content that is also happening on this channel. Not sure if you checked it out, but you should if you haven't. Just saying. I'm posting a short / reel, because it's going on Instagram as well, every single day up until Christmas Day. So, you know, just keep an eye out on all of that. But today's video, the reason we are here, the very first video in the countdown to Christmas for me, is short books, short indie books, I should say, that will help you reach your end of year reading goal. Now it's December. I'm not sure if anyone else is like me, but you've looked at your goal that you've set and you've gone, that's a bit high. Let's lower it slightly, but I still want to beat the amount of books that I read last year. So last year I read 68 books. I had my goal set at 100. I'm not going to hit that currently because I think I'm now sitting at 60. So I've lowered it to 70. So here are some books that should help you hit your goals if that is your aim. So I have here 5 short books that will help you hit your TBR goal, hopefully. They are all indie, like I've already said, and they are all under 200 pages. So I've read them so I can give you a brief synopsis of each. Apart from this one, because it kind of depends where you read it in the series. So the first one is none other than The Fall by Ryan Cahill. It has been a little while since I have mentioned this man on my channel, and I really should, because I am behind in his series. I'll put my hands up and say I am 2 books behind, and I am sad about it, but I hope to rectify that in 2024, ready for the newest release. Now this is The Fall. Technically it is the second book that Ryan published, but it is a prequel novella, so you can either read this before you start Of Blood and Fire, which is the first main book in this series, or you can read it after. There is an ongoing debate about when you should read this. I'm impartial, really, but I read the first book of Blood and Fire via audiobook, so when you buy it on Audible, or when I bought it on Audible anyways, I should say, The Fall was included at the end, so I read this second. And for me, it worked really well. So I also know that for other people, reading this first worked really well for them. Obviously, this is a prequel. It is set years, many years before the events that happen in the first book, so it kind of gives you some reference as to some of the things and conflicts that are mentioned in the first book. So it's up to you when you start this. I'm pretty sure there's a breakdown. I can't remember if it's actually in this as to when you should read the book. I'm pretty sure that on Ryan's website it says if you want to be dropped into action, read 1, and if you want to get more of the world, read the other first. Check out his website, check out the blurbs, check out whatever you want to check out and read it however you want to read it. This is under 100 pages, so obviously that is a nice quick short read for you, and if you want to read this first, it's a really good way to dip your toe into this amazing series. It's still ongoing, it's still being published, but it is a really good time, and so far I've rated every single book 5 stars, so if that doesn't say anything, I don't know what does. The next one is a sci-fi for my sci-fi lovers out there, and that is none other than The Last Gifts of the Universe by Rory August. So this actually won the SPSFC competition earlier this year, actually, and that, if you don't know what that is, it's the self-published sci-fi competition, and it's an indie competition which kind of mirrors Spiffbo, but whereas Spiffbo is fantasy, this is obviously for sci-fi. This actually won this year, which is very cool. I'm not sure if that means it won for 2022 or 2023, but either way, it won the second round of this competition, and for good reason, I will say. This story is lovely. I absolutely adored it. It's really nice, not heavy sci-fi, so if you ever go into sci-fi and you're worried about it being too scientific, for lack of a better word, this does not do that. So this is an amazing world, and within less than 200 pages you get an amazing story. So we're following Scout and her brother, who are archivists. They fly around the universe in their spaceship with their cat called Pumpkin, which is amazing, looking for things to take back to the colony to kind of prove life in other areas, and they stumble across this cache of information, and this cache leads them to a whole world of hurt. It just brings so much trouble to them. They are fighting other bounty hunters essentially for this cache and for the remaining information which is mentioned throughout the other caches that they find. It's a really heartwarming story. I really enjoyed it. It's really human as well, just in the way it's written. I absolutely adored it. The author does an amazing job. The feeling that you get when you feel as though you have to do something but you can't exactly put your finger on why you have to do it, I feel like that's really portrayed. I feel like that's portrayed really well in this book. Definitely one to check out. I have done a whole dedicated video pretty much saying the same thing on my channel for an indie review. I'll link that up here for you if you want to check that out as well. I'm not sure which one is more coherent, this one or that one, but you could check out both if you wanted more information. Carrying on with the sci-fi theme is Creatrix of Strife by DC Allen. So this one left me wanting more, and I'm not too sure at the moment of filming this if there are more books in this series or there are plans for more books in this series, but I'm intrigued, I have to say. This story follows a young girl called Rekka, and she is part of it's a cult. It's a cult that lives in a mountain, and they are very orientated around this clock that is just in their everyday life. Living in the mountain is very dangerous as well. These specific clocks keep the air clean and keep them on track in a place where there is no real difference in light or anything else that would tell you that the day has changed. One thing I really liked about this story is that our main character Rekka, she's an outcast, and she is starting to question the ways of the people that she's living with, and it's shown in this book. She is at the age where she is still going to school within this colony, and she is asking questions, and she is asking questions that no one else wants to answer, or they do answer but in a very roundabout way to try and set her back on their path that they are all on. It was so good, and I really identified with her when she is trying to prove that she is right, prove that there is something else out there in the world and not everything revolves around what they have been taught. I thought it was really good. Really enjoyed it. It is a little bit mind-bending, I will say, but it's definitely worth checking out. It is a good time. And then we have two more fantasy novellas, the first one being none other than The Crown of Omens by E.J. Dobell, which is a Blood and Steel saga story. This is a prequel novella into this amazing world. It is following 10 different perspectives in 10 different chapters, and they all interlink within each other. How this author writes, I've got no idea. It's so engaging. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it, and it's a really good entrance point. Again, like The Fall, it's a very good entrance point into a world that you might not necessarily know you want to fully commit to. This is also an ongoing series. I don't know how many books there are going to be in this series off the top of my head as of filming this either, but I am really enjoying my journey with this story. We did do an interview, me and EJ, a while ago. I will also link that up here for you if you want to check it out. He's a very lovely person, and he very kindly actually sent me this book. Actually, a couple of these have been very kindly sent to me, so thank you so much if you are an author and you have sent me a book. I am so grateful. And then the final book to mention on here is none other than Ruins of Smoke. I have recently read this because it's actually part of my Sphinx batch, which is a short novella competition that I am judging in, but I was sent a copy of this arc before I knew that this was going to be in my batch. So this is the prequel to Seeds of War, which was also a Spiffbo 9 entrant, and it unfortunately has not made it to the finals, but it did very well for itself. So I am yet to actually read that and check that out, but I'm very excited to get to it. This sets up this world so well. Again, this is a prequel, so you can read this before or after you've read the first book. Again, I'm not sure as of filming this how many books there are planned to be in this series, but I think this is just such a good entrance point, especially someone who hasn't read any of the first book just yet. I think it's so good. We're following 4 different perspectives in this book, and they just give an overall view of the battle that is currently taking place in this city at the time of this book. I'm really interested to see how the events of this book kind of tie into the events of the first full novel. So I will be sure to give you my thoughts and feelings on that when I get to it. But as for this novella, I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys will check it out, again, whether you've read the first book or not. And it's definitely one that will make you want to read the rest of the series, because that's what it did for me. So there you go, 5 novellas or short stories that you can read to help boost your TBR if you are so inclined. Some of these will introduce you to other fantastic, well-built worlds, and it will obviously add to your never-ending TBR, but you know, that's what I'm here for. I have to be honest, that is my aim in life, is to add to your TBR, because mine is forever growing. But otherwise, that is everything for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave me a like if you did. If you want to leave me a comment, let me know if you've read any of these novellas, or if there are any ones that you would recommend for me to check out. If you want to leave any emojis, please leave any writing emojis. Why not? And if you want to see more of me, please consider subscribing down below and ring that notification bell to get notified every single time I upload new videos. I'm uploading every single day now until Christmas Eve, so be sure to come back tomorrow for the next video. But otherwise, that's everything for today's video. I hope you're having an amazing time, and I will see you soon, well, tomorrow, in the next one. Bye!